You know, when we think of strength, we usually picture something loud, something obvious. But what if the real signs of mental toughness are the ones that nobody else even sees? So today, we're going to dive into 3 silent signs that prove you're probably a lot mentally stronger than you give yourself credit for.
It's so easy in our world to mix up loudness with confidence, right? Or aggression with actual power. But this quote really hits it on the head. True psychological strength is almost never noisy. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room. In fact, it's usually the total opposite.
It's a great question, isn't it? Real strength isn't found in the person who always has to win the argument. It's found in the person who realized a long time ago that most arguments just aren't worth their peace of mind. It's a quiet internal thing. And that gets us to what we can call the myth of loudness. We're going to uncover the psychology of the quietly tough. These are the people who have built this incredible, unbreakable inner world. And their maturity leaves like a behavioral fingerprint, It shows up in these subtle patterns that are just so powerful. Okay, so the very first silent sign, it is all about that tiny little space between something happening and how you respond. We're calling it the power of the pause. This, right here, is where your true strength shows itself. It's not about what happens to you, it's all about how you choose to react to it.
Okay, so there's actually a formal term for this in psychology. It's called delayed response processing. And this is not about bottling up your feelings or pretending you don't have them. Oh no, you feel things just as deeply as anyone else. The difference is you've developed this incredible skill to choose how you express that feeling instead of letting it control you.
And this slide just breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you have the reactive mind. It hears criticism, feels an instant jolt of anxiety or anger, and immediately snaps back to defend itself. But the stoic mind? It just pauses. It takes a second, understands that most arguments are just ego talking, and decides that its inner peace is way more valuable than being right.
So if you've ever learned to just bite your tongue, not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to walk away from a pointless fight, that's you. You get that silence can be a position of incredible power, not defeat. That right there is the stoic fingerprint. All right, sign number 2 kind of builds on that first one. This is all about where you get your sense of worth. It's about having what we'll call an unbreakable inner anchor. Your validation, your sense of okayness, it comes from the inside, not from likes, comments, or what other people think.
And yeah, there's a fancy psychological term for this too, autonomous individuation. It sounds complicated, but the idea is actually really simple and beautiful. It's this rare ability to know who you are and to hold on to that, without needing a crowd of people around you cheering you on to confirm it.
So here's the real difference, right? Someone who runs on external validation is on a constant emotional roller coaster. Their happiness literally depends on the next like, the next text message, someone else's approval. They might even chase people, begging them to stay. But the person with internal validation, their self-respect comes from their own values and their own progress. And because of that, they can let people walk away, because they were already whole to begin with.
They are their own anchor, totally grounded, calmly confident. It's a kind of strength that doesn't need to be flashy at all, to be incredibly real.
And that brings us to our third sign. And honestly, this one might be the rarest of them all in our modern world, the freedom of boredom. This is all about your ability to just be with yourself, in the quiet, and to see that as a superpower, not a punishment.
I mean, let's be real. So many of us are living with a completely overstimulated mind. We're always scrolling, always looking for that next notification, that little TikTok dopamine hit, and what happens? We end up mentally drained. A lot of people actually start to panic when it gets quiet, because it forces them to be alone with their own thoughts.
But maybe not you. If you're comfortable in the quiet, you don't see being alone as this terrible state of loneliness you have to avoid at all costs. For you, it's freedom. It's the space you need to think, to recharge, and to just exist without all that external noise.
But here's a really important thing to get. This kind of quiet strength, it isn't something you're just born with. Oh no, it's forged, it's built, and a lot of the time it's built through some pretty tough experiences. So where does it come from? Well, a lot of the time, this quietly tough mind is the result of growing up a little too fast. Maybe you had a lot of unsupervised freedom, which forced you to learn some really hard lessons on your own. You learned how to carry heavy responsibilities without anyone giving you a round of applause. Yeah, it probably wasn't easy. You might have even learned to just normalize exhaustion, to just keep pushing forward, because, well, you had to. But that difficult past,
That is the exact reason you are so incredibly resilient today. It's the secret ingredient to your strength.
So through all of that, you became the Stoic. You're the one who can pause, analyze the situation, and choose your own peace over some pointless ego trip.
And you became the anchor. You learn how to be grounded in your own self-worth, so you don't need constant praise from the outside world to feel whole. Your foundation is internal, and nothing can shake it.
And finally, you became the master of stillness. In a world that is terrified of boredom, you find freedom, not fear, in those quiet moments alone. You know your own mind, and you're not afraid of what you'll find in there.
You see, your strength doesn't need a billboard. It just shows. It shows in how you move through the world, calm, capable, and fundamentally unshaken. So as you look at these three signs, which one really hits home for you right now? Are you the Stoic, the anchor, or the master of stillness? Take a second. Because that answer, well, that tells you a lot about the unique way your own quiet strength was built.